So, what I'd like to do is a little bit of Mahamudra meditation. Um, so, let's start with the way we normally start with, a short bit of just resting the mind, of allowing the mind to get calm. So, take whatever meditation posture you want to take. It's good to have a nice upright one. I'm going to uh, set my timer here. So a nice upright meditation posture, allowing yourself to, I'm going to do it with the breath. So I'm working with breath coming in, breath going out body. The way we do it with meditation is freedom or entering the stream. And I'm just allowing my mind to get calm. So one of the effects, I'm going to turn off my video for a second. One of the effects of practicing calm abiding, as you're following the breath, is that your mind actually does become calm. So whatever level you want to practice that at, windshield, steering wheel, gas pedal, etc. Hopefully, your mind has settled a bit, and so you can feel the sort of calming, more quiet aspect of mind. And remember the teachings on the mind being open, empty, full. Within the calmness, there's a vast open quality. It's open like the sky. There's the sky is bright. It's like the sky in maybe 10 a.m. The sun's risen, the sky is bright, clear blue sky, just open. There's no thing to hold on to in the sky. You can't grab sky. Sky is an experience rather than a thing. We give it a name, but it's more of something to experience than a thing. And the sky is full of possibilities. The sun comes up, moves along, goes down, the moon rises or doesn't, stars come out, clouds float by, birds fly through the sky. You hear sound across the air, across the space between you and something else. The sky is full of possibilities. So it's open, empty, and full of possibilities. The sky is like your mind. Open, empty, full. And as you're practicing, all kinds of thoughts, you're resting in stillness, resting in calm mind, and then you have a memory. Your memory walks on stage, does its performance, and then leaves. Or you have a thought, a worry. Maybe it's about the heat. Maybe it's about politics. Or a physical sensation. Or an emotion. They all come, appear on stage, and then walk off stage, like clouds flying through the sky, or like birds flying through the sky. The sky has no opinion. I like this bird, I don't like that bird. It's just open. Any bird can fly through. I don't like crows, I like robins. It doesn't care. It's just a bird. I like cirrus clouds, I don't like thunder clouds. The sky does not have an opinion. It is open, empty, and accommodating of everything. Holds on to nothing. The only difference between your mind and this sky is that in your experience, you can know that you're having an emotion while it arises and then walks off stage, or a memory as it appears and then disappears. We don't know if the sky knows that the birds are flying through. That's where all metaphors are limited. The open, empty, sky-like mind is the mind of Mahamudra. And I'd like to invite you from that place, if you want, to take refuge with me. So I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I commit to practicing reverence for life, to abstaining from killing. I commit to developing happiness through the practice of generosity, to abstaining from stealing. I commit to seeking true love, to abstaining from sexual harm and sexual aggression. I commit to loving speech and deep listening, to abstaining from lying. I commit to being fully present and available in my life without the support of intoxicants or overindulgence. Okay, we'll bring ourselves back from the space of meditation to how you normally hold your attention. So I specifically today, I want to talk about mind like sky. It could also be mind vast like ocean, but today I'm using sky as the metaphor. But let's start with a lightning fast review of how we got here. So we're discussing the Sadhana of Mahamudra, and as an example and an experience of the immediate way. So there are three in the typical Indo-Tibetan presentation of the teachings of the Buddha. There are three paths: the path of the foundation, or the foundation way, the great way, and the immediate way. And in the foundation way, fundamentally, what you begin to understand is that your experience of a me to hold on to, of a solid, enduring self, is like a dream. That in reality, life flows by more like a river than something solid like a rock to hold on to. So over and over, we've said in Community Refuge, more like a river than a rock. So I'm not a rock. And then in the great way, that view opens up, which is part of why it's called great, to say, well, actually, everything is flowing by and constantly changing. There are no rocks. Not only am I not a rock, but the world is not a rock, and other people are not rocks. And I don't have to build museums to my memory or my ideas. It's just this constant flow. When you understand that flow, you understand how everything is connected in this very complex web of causes and things that are happening. And because we're all connected, a natural compassion just happens. And so often the characteristic of the great way is a teaching on the openness of things, open, empty, full, shunyata, often translated as emptiness, right? The shunya quality, and then compassion and connection. And those two, the foundation teachings and the great way teachings, give us a place to discuss the immediate way, which actually brings those two sets of teachings into a very sharp, penetrating focus to bring it to life in your day-to-day experience, so that you can wake up on the spot immediately. You don't have to wait many lifetimes or thousands of years. You could do it right now. And there are hundreds and thousands of meditation techniques in the immediate way. The Sadhana of Mahamudra is one, and then it's an example of sadhana, which is a spiritual training, right? And the idea is that we can train in how to be awake. We use the sort of storytelling, imaginative quality of what it's like to be alive, and we imagine ourselves into being awake and alive as an enlightened being. And in the Sadhana of Mahamudra, we're using the imagination of ourselves as Dorje Trollo Karmapakshi, the combination of Padmasambhava, who was an 8th century Indian accomplished master who helped bring the Dharma to Tibet, and the second Karmapa, Karma Pakshi, uh, 12th century Tibetan master. And those two figures represent the combination of two powerful currents of how to be awake in Tibetan teachings. And last week we talked very much about, you know, the practice of imagination, so-called visualization. But it doesn't have to be visual. It's like how can you imagine yourself into this awake state, and how what we often don't recognize is that we're imagining ourselves as asleep. We actually believe this samsaric imagination, this confused, I'm a rock, I'm here, you're there. We actually believe that, even though we know conceptually it's not true and we can analyze it and go through all the philosophy and the psychology, but it feels so compelling. And so the skillful way of the immediate teachings is, well, let's give you something else to work with. Let's work with this imagination of, well, this is what awake would feel like. And so we've imagined ourselves as this being, Dorje Trollo Karma Pakshi, who's dressed in the robes of a monk. He's otherworldly. He's red. He's glowing. He's holding these two weapons in his hand: a symbolic thunderbolt in one, a vajra, and a three-pointed dagger or purba in the other. And like sparks of energy are flying off of him. And he's standing on the back. He's like surfing on the back of a tigress. And the tigress itself is standing on top of a giant lotus, which is on top of the rock mountain, the rock mountain of ego, which has been overcome, right? So just in case you thought, oh, this is real. No, this is very much an imagination exercise. Then the sadhana takes you to this very interesting um, um, place, and I want to make sure I have it lined up before I um, turn on the share. We talked about how here we go. We talked about how the sadhana uses sort of a very ordinary psychology of, you've spent time asking for help from the awakened masters. Let's see if I can get to share here. And you're asking for help, and it's like, I really need your help. And over again, this refrain: although I live in the slime and muck of the dark age, I still aspire to see your face. I still want to see the face of awakening, right? Although I stumble on the thick black fog of materialism, I still aspire to see your face. I want to see the face of awakening. And then here's a description of that face, right? And this is this page I want to talk about today, right? And I think you'll understand the meditation we just did. To the crazy wisdom form of the Buddhas of the three times. Crazy wisdom here is wisdom that has been shaken loose from all constraints. It's not constrained by nice versus naughty, good versus bad, popular versus unpopular, famous versus unknown, right? It's beyond any boundaries. It doesn't mean insane. It means free. So to the wisdom set free of the Buddhas of the three times, the unified mandala of all the siddhas. So this imagination, Dorje Trollo Karma Pakshi, I make this supplication. Desire, hatred, and other hindrances are self-liberated. When you have an experience in meditation, and I'm going to do hatred, right? Because a particularly hateful figure came up in our description of, to me it's hateful, of what might arise in your mind, this hateful political figure. You feel that it's like, I really dislike this person. I intensely dislike this person. I hate this person. Well, that happens. If we're being real, all of us have that, or some experience like that. Or we have desire, the opposite. I really love this person. I really want to be with this person. And we're sort of like fixated on that person, right? So whether it's desire, hatred, or anything else, As soon as you recognize it in the flow, you recognize that it's part of the flow. It's an expression of what it's like to be aware. And then it's done. It comes and goes. To the boundless rainbow body of wisdom, Padmakara Karmapakshi, the Haruka, which is like the heroic embodiment of being awake, who, untouched by concepts, pervades all existence, I make this supplication. And then the following lines are the view of Mahamudra. This is what it looks like from the point of view of awake. Whatever is seen with the eyes, or you could say heard with the ears, smelled with the nose, tasted with the tongue, felt with the skin, right? Felt with touch. Whatever is seen with the eyes is vividly unreal in emptiness. Yet there is still form. So I see things even as I know that they're temporary. The unreal doesn't mean they're not there. It means it's just a temporary experience. Um, I'm looking at my cell phone, right? It's temporary. I didn't have it 5 years ago. I won't have it 5 years from now. I have no idea where this will be 5 years from now. It might be being reprocessed in some factory. It might be, in a trash heap somewhere else. And it will be slowly disintegrating, and I will no longer call it mine. And yet, right now, it's important to me. It's vivid. And everything you see that you care about or hate is like that. Whatever has a form that appears separate. It's very easy to notice this with sound. You could hear a lovely voice singing in the distance and really go, that person, she or he, that voice, oh. And then they stop and the sound ends. Or, you could hear a truck grinding its gears outside as it drives past your window. And you go, I hate that. And then it's over, right? It's vivid and then it's over. The vividness is really important, right? That's what the flow feels like, right? It's very compelling. And yet it's a flow, not a rock, right? This is the true image. And then we give the name of one of the Karmapas as an example of awake. This is the true image of Tusum Kempa, right? So if you're looking for what it looks like to be awake, look around you. Those are the forms that you can see. Listen to what's happening around you. If there's a smell or a taste or a touch, connect with the senses. That's what it feels like, looks like, smells like to be awake. There's not some other special Hollywood awake out there, right? This is the awake that you're looking for. Whatever is heard with the ears is the echo of emptiness yet real. It is the clear and distinct utterance of Mikyo Dorje, whom now I supplicate. So if you remember the visualization, Tusum Kempa is the Karmapa that's in the center of the head. Mikyo Dorje at the throat represents the speech principle or communication, right? So I'm going to talk about, we think that maybe there's some special way to say the secret of enlightenment, but the sounds that are around you, the things that you're experiencing, that's what it sounds like. So learning to listen for that is a Mahamudra exercise. Just this is the sound, the truck grinding its gears, the vividness of it, the fact that I feel my mind pushing away against that sound, which to me is unpleasant. Or if it's a pleasant sound, reaching out to grab it, right? That pushing or reaching quality, the energetic quality of the mind, that's Mikyo Dorje. That's awake, right? That's an experience of being awake, right? And then this line, which is why I wanted these next lines, which is why I wanted to just do the meditation we did and talk just about this page. So many people, when they learn the sadhana, this is the paragraph or the 4 lines that stand out for them. Good and bad, happy and sad, all thoughts vanish into emptiness like the imprint of a bird in the sky. And then people forget the next line. This is the vivid mind of Rangjung Dorje, whom now I supplicate. So constantly in the flow, and it's why in the stages of meditation is freedom / entering the stream, stage 8 is flowing. There is this constant flow of experience, good and bad, happy and sad, pleasant and unpleasant, famous and forgettable. All the different polarities that you might come up with, right? Constantly flowing. In the open space of mind, like the open sky of mind, any of those are possible because the sky is wide open. It's just able to accommodate everything. There's no grab, no holding on from the sky, right? It's just good and bad. They just like it's like there is no imprint of the bird in the sky. There are no bird tracks. The bird just flies by, and then the sky is the way it is. It was open at the beginning, open in the middle, it's open at the end. This is just an experience like a flow that's happening within awareness. Right? And it's full of possibility. The full of possibility is both good news and a little bit of a challenge. It's good news because anything can happen. And so whatever happens in your awareness, that's an expression of the possibility of awareness. I'm going to say that again. Whatever happens in your awareness, could be fear, could be joy, could be sadness, could be love, could be irritation, it could be your arm hurting, it could be, oh, I've got this morning routine that I'm doing, uh, could be a sound that you hear, whatever happens, that's expressive of your mind has the possibility of being aware. Awareness, that's what it's like to be aware. That's why it's called Mahamudra. Awareness symbolizes awareness. It's open, it's full of this possibility, and there's no thing to hold on to. It's a very famous Mahamudra teaching, which like the sky, an arrow flies through the sky, and the sky, it doesn't leave a hole. There's no puncture in the sky. The sky just lets it fly through. Right? It's like open to everything, no grab, right? And yet everything's possible. So that's the good news. And then the challenge is, well, most of us are really well practiced of filling our sky with samsara. We're really used to filling it with the Brian story, or you fill in your name, your story, and your drama, your fears, your hurts, maybe your loves, your expectations, your ambitions, the things you don't care about. Um, it's sort of like me and the world, and we fill it with that. And this is saying there's a whole other possibility where you could fill it with just wide awake compassion, Dorje Trello Karma Pakshi, which is a long way away from filling it with Brian. Right? This is the vivid mind of Rangjung Dorje, whom now I supplicate. So if you'll remember in the visualization, there's this fantastic figure, Dorje Trello Karma Pakshi, and inside of him, he's got a body made out of light, are these three figures, Tusam Kempa, representing form, Mikyo Dorje, representing communication or speech, and Rangjung Dorje, representing awareness or mind. And Rangjung Dorje is just naked. He's just sitting there naked, sort of floating in space. Right? He's like the sky. Right? He's actually sky blue, but he's midnight sky blue in most paintings of this. It's just like anything can happen. The stars, the moon, anything. Right? And it's vivid. It has all this possibility. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. And I'm going to leave it here rather than go on through the text. because I think it's really useful. Last week we talked about what we're trying to let go of, which is our self imagination is confused. And this week I'm trying to talk about what we're trying to hold on to, which is, or what we're trying to connect with, which is this open, vivid, sky like experience. So, with that, I'm going to stop the share and pause the recording.